Well, welcome back again once more to another Johnny Torch Live broadcast. Broadcast number 222. 222. And this is Torch News Roundup number 265. We've got a really big show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to it. I'm sure this is going to be a big show because we haven't had a show in about a month. And that's kind of par for the course. The calm before the storm, if you will, because, of course, San Diego ComicCon is where it's at, and that's where all the new trailers, all the inside skinny about what's going to happen in the upcoming years. We're going to talk about all of that, the future phases, what we know about them in the MCU, the relatively little that was revealed about what's coming up in the DCEU. We'll talk about that too. But first, of course, I would like to assure you to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Again, we seem to be at a standstill for subs. I don't know why it is. We haven't done too many news roundups, but we've been doing the review videos still. If you haven't, make sure you check out the Thor: Love and Thunder review that I did. Again, it's pretty in-depth, 45 minutes on Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know if anybody really wants to spend 45 minutes thinking about Thor: Love and Thunder. I mean, it has its moments. Didn't really succeed for me. Of course, you can check out the long, detailed review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that I did. It's in 2 parts. There's also a rant, a 20-minute rant, which is among one of the favorite videos I've ever done. I have to admit, I really like doing that rant because it seeing the response that I saw to the Obi-Wan show, and we could probably still talk about it because now it's coming up again in conversation because the reviews were not kind and the ratings were pretty low for a show of that ilk. But again, I saw it differently than many others, and I think that it deserves a shot. I think it is flawed, definitely flawed, but not entirely without merit. I think a lot of the stuff that was Obi-Wan and Vader related was handled pretty well. It was just the Reva stuff that I could have done without. All right, but before we get into the trailers and all the goodies, I want to talk briefly about my ComicCon experience. Had a lot of fun at Plastic City Comic-Con, my first con back since, the Dark Ages. We've had about 2.5 years of Dark Ages. As you remember, last year, I kind of, I refused to, wear the thing or get the thing. And not too many cons were taking people last year in that frame of mind. And so, of course, I had to bow out of at least 2 years worth of cons. And the only one that was not kowtowing to that kind of mentality, shall we say, was Plastic City Comic-Con, run by the mighty Keith Gleason. It was nice to see him again momentarily. I really didn't get to see too many folks. I briefly had a chance to go down and see Peter Samedi, my man Peter. I got to meet Frankie B. Washington. Didn't get a chance to meet Clint Stoker, which is something I wanted to do, but hopefully our paths will cross again. It's difficult because I'm a one-man show. And when I leave the booth, all I can do is ask an attendant to sort of keep an eye on it. But you don't make sales that way, really. So I try to limit it to like 10 minutes of being able to walk the floor, press the flesh and meet the folks and have fun with seeing some friends, some old friends, which I did. A couple of folks that I'd known from past cons. The only problem I have is that I don't really have a great memory, and nobody ever comes to me. Quite frankly, it would make it easier if people would come to me and I could say, yeah, I remember you. But it's mostly I have to go walking around and see if I can remember faces and say, yeah, I think I've met them before. It's not always easy. Some difficulty with car service. I had car trouble and I got there unfashionably late, only by about 15, 20 minutes. But again, I hate that because it reflects bad on me. It looks like I can't get there on time, but it's the unreliable transportation that I was using because unfortunately, you get what you don't pay for. And I had to switch. I couldn't keep using the really expensive car services. So you'd go with I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but a less expensive car service. And the guy, frankly, didn't know what he was doing. The thing that bothers me most about this, I don't know what bothers me more, the fact that it makes me look bad that I arrived late, or the fact that they don't ever take a percentage off the bill. They want that money. They want that money quick. And I'm like, shouldn't you be giving me like probably about 40% off, seeing as how you didn't get me there in time? You offer a pretty lame apology, but that's about all that I got from that. That won't even buy me a cup of coffee. So I don't know. That's probably my first question. What would you do in a situation like this? Do you ask for you know, a refund on services or whatever? I'm not sure if I want to do that because, like I said, going to another car service is going to probably be more expensive. Also, we had fun at the show, we meaning me plural. And we did great. We did great sales. I want to thank everybody that stopped by the booth and purchased a copy of the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles or the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. We had dollar copies and we did very well selling them. I didn't do as well with the we did sell one copy of The Death of Bullets Bourbon. I was kind of hoping that that would have been more of a hit, but for some reason, people want to buy the back issues because of the sale, and we really couldn't sell as many of the newer issues, and that's quite frankly disheartening. Um, Hopefully that'll turn around. But again, you play with the cards that you're dealt. Considering that I was determined to get rid of my back catalog that I've had for several years, I was happy that I was able to get most of those copies sold. There's still a pretty significant number of issues 4, 5, and 6, but the first printing of the first issue went very well. I've only got 2 copies of that left. The second and third issue also sold very well, which I might have 2 or 3 copies of that left as well. So hopefully next time there's a con, we can finish up selling out those back issues for $1. And, I described it as sort of the gateway drug, hopefully. It's not a great way to describe your wares, but, hopefully if someone picks up a book for $1 and we captivate them that way and they'll come back for the remastered versions and for the more up-to-date issues in the series, that's hopefully what it'll do. But of course, the back issues, the dollar issues are basically the rustic versions that I was doing for the first couple of years because I learned on the job. And we started with uh, pencils and markers for the first issue. And a lot of people like that. They like that look. And I do pretty well selling the first issue because the first issue is going to sell pretty well anyway. Then by the 5th issue, we did digital lettering. By the 2nd issue, we did digital coloring. So again, I've tried to improve every step of the way, going further and further in the series. And it was nice that a lot of people commented on my art style, which is something I always appreciate when everybody says it. That this is a great art style because you honestly don't see people do that too often. And I'm gonna toot my own horn for a minute here, but when you see people doing comics nowadays, they all look the same. They're very generic, and I don't mean to put anybody down because trust me, I want everybody to be successful. I don't want anybody to have to struggle to get their books done. I want everybody to sell 1 million copies. Rip is doing wonderful right now. I hope he does phenomenal, and he's already done phenomenal, but I hope he continues on. But, everybody does that sort of 90s comic style. A guy in spandex, he looks like he's flying, he's jumping up in the air, and to me, it looks very generic. What I'm trying to do is the Bruce Timm Western animation style, which is very cartoony, very soft, very colorful, very vibrant, which is something that didn't happen a whole lot in, well, it was probably pretty colorful for, I would say, a good half of the 90s. But then we started getting into the sort of what we've got now, which is sort of it's like it's not black and white, but there is no color. It's not vibrant. It's sort of that Zack Snyder effect on comics. And you got that, I think, from the late 90s on, when you had, Singer's X-Men in the movies with black spandex. And then, of course, like, we got the muted colors for the Snyderverse. That became more popular. And honestly, that's not what comics are supposed to be. They're supposed to be light. They're supposed to be vibrant. They're supposed to be cartoony. There's a noir style to my books, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, but it's still very colorful. And I think that's important. And so when you have, what you have is either the opposite of the 90s Western style comics is manga. And again, manga isn't for me. It's the very cartoony and exaggerated looking characters and so forth. That's not my bag either. And I'm glad for people that are successful with that as well. But again, I want the more Western style of animation, the stuff that looks cartoony, Bruce Timm style. Not even just limited to Bruce Timm and the DC animated series, but we had a lot of great animated series in the 90s. It was a golden age for animation, where we had the animated Spider-Man show, X-Men, which of course is going to be coming out. That's going to be very exciting to see if they can actually do a sequel to that with X-Men 97. But that's the kind of style that I am hoping for. And a lot of people have commented on it. And I'm so very pleased that people like it. But again, if it really needs to show up in sales, I hope more people will take a chance on the book. And I'm not saying that I'm disappointed in any way, because actually we did better sales now, this year, than we had in the previous couple of years. And that's very reassuring that, people will turn out to pick up Bullets Bourbon comics. But again, we have a ways to go. We still, to really crack that market wide open is what we're trying to do. You really want to shoot for the stars whenever you're doing a comic. It's easy enough to just be satisfied with we're doing all right. But no, I think especially when we're talking about Ripa, he shows that the sky's the limit, quite honestly. Shoot high, aim high, and shoot high. And again, we're going to, we're not slowing down with the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. We're going to look into other avenues. We had the armband, the commemorative armband for the Death of Bullets Bourbon saga that we're doing right now. But speaking of that, we're going to reveal the villain of Bullets Bourbon 10. I've kept this story close to the chest because I really want to push the Death of Bullets Bourbon. Usually while I'm coloring and prepping the next issue, I've got all kinds of, you know, teasers and showing images and this and that. Um, it's not so much that you know, I don't feel for this story as I did for the Death of Bullets Bourbon story, because this one is going to be considerably lighter in tone. Or as the Vulcan proverb says, every search for Spock must give way to a voyage home. Quite honestly, when you're dealing with a darker story, as I have been for the past, well, 2 years, it takes about 2 years, it takes about a year and a half to get a story out. It's kind of heavy, and you kind of, once you're through with that and you get through with that, you want to lighten the mood. And of course, this is not going to be the lightest story I've ever done. That would probably be the second issue, the second story in the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles. But quite honestly, this one is a bit of a lighthearted take in comparison with the previous story. And so we are going to reveal the villain for Bullets Bourbon 10. And if you bought Bullets Bourbon 9, you got the preview, so you already know what the this is not going to be a surprise to too many people that bought that issue. But we have an old favorite coming back, and we also have a new villain to assist him. And our first panel that we're revealing from both is right here on your screen. Pencil Neck returns. Last we left Pencil Neck In Bullets Bourbon Chronicles #3, When the Night Comes, he was powerless. That's why his eraser is sort of a dull gold, because you have to watch that story. You have to read that story in order to get the full impact of events, rather than go over the whole story with you right now. But he lost his erasing ability. His powers are now gone, and he's faced with a life of not being able to use that incredible power to disintegrate his enemies. And he has been declared sane, and time served on his sentence, and now he's released back into the public as a, you know, as a reformed man. He's paid his debt to society. But Bullets Bourbon knows that things are not always as they seem. And he is not going to take this powerlessness completely lying down. And he seeks out the criminal known as Dr. Chrome Dome, which you see there in the flyer that he's holding right there. Wanted by the police, Dr. Chrome Dome. He goes to him looking for a cure for his condition. And will he find it? That's the question. And I got one more image here. We'll put this one up and see what you think about this. This was very exciting for me because I always wanted to put a mad scientist into the series. And so we have, you can see he has a very European accent. And this is Pencil Neck about to undergo some strange treatment to restore his powers. And quite honestly, will it work? You'll have to find out in the upcoming issue, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, #10, Casebook 10. And it will be called Get the Lead Out. And the overall story is going to be called, that's the Act 1 title, but the overall story is called Man of Our Times. And you will see how Pencil Neck is going to try to get the public on his side. And of course, Dr. Chrome Dome is going to be his confidant here in trying to restore his powers. And we will have to see exactly what this entails. What is the cost of trying to restore his powers? We will find out in The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, #10, on its way to you soon. We are probably in the last stages of work on the book. I've been working on it steadily since March. I had a date, a tentative date, a self-imposed date of getting the book out, at least getting it out of my hands in August. That looks to be the case, and to hopefully have it ready for print by September. Now, as long as I get it out of my hands in August, I feel like my self-imposed date has been met. Now, it could be October before you actually get the book, because the printer that I use, it seems like they have issues with trying to get it out in a timely manner these days. In the past, I could expect it to be out in a month, which means if I could submit it in, August, late August, early September, I would probably get it in between, 2 weeks to a month. It's usually considerably longer than that now. So again, I really can't make any promises on what the printer is going to do. But as far as I'm concerned, the book is finished. It's got a little bit more coloring to do, and then I've got to do the two covers, the front cover, and then we got the cover for issue 11 you're going to see. That's exciting to do that because I was able to get that cover ready to go before print. So I figure I'll show you what the cover for the next issue is going to look like so you can see that in advance. So that's always fun. And yeah, quite honestly, excited about this story. Pencil Neck's one of my all-time favorite villains. I love Carrot Top and I love Pencil Neck. they're two of the greatest villains, and it's fun to be able to see um, sort of season one, we'll call it, going out with my favorite villains. Most of the season one alternated between the whole season alternated between Carrot Top and Pencil Neck, and of course there was the Carrot Top and Pencil Neck team up in the in the third issue. Now, in the second season, we're going to see a lot more newer characters, and unfortunately, I don't think Pencil Neck is going to be in the second season. I've already got the stories all wrapped up for season two, and there isn't a script with Pencil Neck in it. So this is going to be fun to at least see him now until possibly season three before we get to see him again. So make sure you check this out when the time comes. Keep your eyes open on Twitter. You can check my link in the description below for my Twitter page, as well as check out the link to my website, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. Please make sure you check out all the previous issues on Indie Planet. You can pick them up right there. And like I said, we're doing pretty well. Also, like I said, we've run some advertising space in some Alterna books that may be adding to the word catching on. But again, I feel bad that I wasn't able to do any advertising on Peter's King Cryptid, because that looks like that's going to be amazing. Unfortunately, again, thank you, Brandon. Money's been kind of tight lately, and the advertising budget, I've only got so much for it, and I'm not being a part of the summer campaign as well. But I am hoping to look forward to getting another ad in or two for the fall campaign, which will probably happen in a month or so. So again, like, share, and subscribe. Get the word out on the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, and see that you can check out those issues in on the website and on Indie Planet. So, without further ado, let us move on to the show proper, the show at large. We've got the we've got the trailers for Black Adam, Shazam, and Wakanda Forever, and She-Hulk. Which one should we tackle first? All right, let's take a look at, let's see. Now, if you've been following the show lately, you realize I've been having trouble getting images up on the screen. I'm using GIMP for, I usually use GIMP for the pages that I show you, the panels like I just did. I'm going to try to put these up in GIMP now, these images from the con. Okay, I think that works out pretty well. All right, so this is Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Now, I was kind of, I don't know, I was kind of underwhelmed by all the trailers at the con this year. I would say that this one was the best one of the, what is it, 4? I enjoyed it, but it kind of, it sends up a red flag for me, because basically we're hot off of Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder, and I kind of feel the same for Shazam 2 that I felt for that, which is, this is not really my preference for a Shazam characterization. Now, the first movie came out and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. And I can enjoy this version of Shazam for what it is, which is boy trapped in a man's body and he's got superpowers. Or as they put it quite simply, big with superpowers. And my conception of Captain Marvel / Shazam is the old school Captain Marvel / Shazam, where he becomes a different personality, where he has the intellect, the wisdom of Solomon. And you don't really get the fact that he has the wisdom of Solomon when he has the personality of a, I don't know what he is now at this point, a 14-year-old boy. So again, it's difficult to say that this is like everything I hoped for in a Shazam film. I like Zachary Levi, or Levi. Is it Levi or Levy? I always get confused. I think he's done pretty well in this role, and according to the trailer, it looks like it's going to be pretty slapstick again. It looks like it's going to be kind of goofy. Um, to be totally honest with you, I forgot all about watching the trailer before the broadcast. I always got to forget something. So I have to go by what I remember seeing it last night when I seen it for the first time. Um, Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren, I believe, are playing the gods. We get Shazam, the wizard, back, which I don't understand since I'm pretty sure he died in the previous film, unless they left that ambiguous and I didn't catch on to it. He's speaking to like well, what we appear to be a therapist, but it's really a pediatrician about all his problems because he's trying to keep his team slash family together. If you remember the end of the original Shazam, he's got his entire foster family, pretty much his foster siblings, becoming members of the Shazam family. I think this is true to the comics. Again, am very limited in my understanding of the comics. I know about Captain Marvel Jr. I know about Mary Marvel. I don't really know about these other characters. I know there was a tiger that was a Captain Marvel. I should really get back into those comics and try to brush up on them some more. But it looks like fun. I'm going to take it for what it's worth, which is probably not my idea of Shazam. Probably not the way I would have done it, but it looks like it's going to be fun in the same way that I had an open mind for Thor, where they were clearly trying to do a slightly more goofy Thor. And to be honest with you, my problems with Thor Love and Thunder were not the fact that it was funny. I like to laugh in a comic book film. I think we don't laugh enough in the comic book films. I think they try too hard sometimes, and that's where you get a lot of the people saying the MCU is a lot of forced humor or something. But the humor isn't what's wrong with them. What was wrong with Love and Thunder was you had some very heavy topics that you were trying to mix in with the humor. I don't think they're going to have this problem here. This seems like it's going to be pretty much just in the same vein as the previous Shazam film. Just it's the same way that I liked Ragnarok, where you can be funny, but you have to take the events seriously, which is what they did in the first Shazam, which was, there was some pretty heavy stuff going on with him being an orphan and with him trying to find his mother. But they still managed to make it lighthearted enough where it was fun. And I don't think that they were successful with that in Thor Love and Thunder. I think it felt very tonally inconsistent. And I'm guessing this will not be that way. Again, not a whole lot more to say because I'm just concerned. I don't want that to sort of be the case for Shazam, where it's only kind of laughing at Shazam / Captain Marvel, and not with him. That's what my main concern is for Shazam. I say Shazam / Captain Marvel. I'm a purist, but I really don't care that they changed it to Shazam because it does make it more easier to understand who they're talking about with so many Captain Marvels running around in the universe these days. I always called him Shazam when I was a kid, knowing full well that he was Captain Marvel. I just called him Shazam. And quite frankly, it's like, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing captainish about him really in the lore nor in the costume. He doesn't look like a captain in any sense. So I don't have a problem with that. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below about Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Joining Zachary Levi for Shazam Fury of the Gods are returning cast members Asha Angel as Billy Batson, Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddie Freeman, Adam Brody as Superhero Freddy. Superhero Freddy, is that what they're calling him? Maybe they should call him like Shazam Jr. or something like that. But then again, what are they going to call Mary Marvel? Mary Shazam? This is going to feel very strange because of that, because of the name change. But I guess it's a necessity because of legal situation. Ross Butler as superhero Eugene, Megan Good as superhero Darla, DJ Contra as superhero Pedro, Grace Carolyn Curry as Mary Broomfield, superhero Mary. She gets to play both parts. She's growing up fast. Faith Herman as Darla Dudley, Ian Chen as Eugene Choi, Jovan Armand as Pedro Pena, Marta Milans as Rosa Vasquez, Cooper Andrews as Victor Vasquez, and Digimon Hunsu as the Wizard Shazam. So that's the Shazam family. Also cast in it are Rachel Ziegler, Lucy Liu, and Helen Marin as the Daughters of Atlas. Ziegler plays Anita, unless this is, maybe they mean Athena. I don't know. Lucy Liu is Calypso, and Marin is playing Hesperia. So, again, this was the trailer that I enjoyed seeing the most, and I don't have a date here on the copy, but I'm pretty sure this is coming out in December, just in time for Christmas. And like I said, looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope it's going to be enjoyable. Let me know what you think in the comments below about Shazam Fury of the Gods. Are you a Shazam fan? Are you looking forward to Shazam Fury of the Gods? Let me know. All right, next up, let's take a look at our next trailer. We're going to stick with DC for this one. And this is Black Adam. Black Adam, to be honest with you, I like this trailer, but, well, for one thing, it doesn't look like they showed us a whole heck of a lot more than what we'd seen already. They showed us a little more Dr. Fate. They showed us a little more Hawkman. They showed us a little more of Atom Smasher and Cyclone. But it kind of feels somewhat generic. It kind of feels like it's just Black Adam is out there smashing up things, and, you know, the Justice Society of America has got to try to keep him in check, keep him at bay without really making an international incident of himself. Now, I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is perfect for this role. I know he lobbied for it. He signed up to it like 12 years ago. This has been a movie in the making for him for over a decade, well over a decade, I'm pretty sure at this point. So I don't doubt that he's going to give his all in all for this film. My concern is I don't really see Black Adam as a good guy. Now, I know that's sort of fashionable, particularly in this day with the Sony Spider-Man films. But at least with the Sony verse, as of now, they seem to be making characters that are plausibly anti-heroes. Morbius, which I got to do the review for that film, by the way, because I didn't dislike Morbius. I think they did right by the character, and you can kind of see him as an anti-hero. The same can be said for Venom. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to make him an anti-hero when he became that in the comics. Craven is really going to push the limits of this, but I don't think Black Adam is even slightly applicable as an anti-hero. I think he is sort of an authoritarian. He wants to kind of make it his way or the highway. Fascist, basically. And the problem I have is they are still not matching up Black Adam with Shazam. Now, maybe they're waiting for a Shazam 3, maybe they're waiting for a Black Adam 2 to have them meet, but I can't see Zachary Levi's Shazam defeating this Black Adam. And that's kind of sad because Black Adam is really his arch enemy, his arch nemesis. And I don't want to see them turn him into a hero just to satisfy The Rock. The Rock has got to be true to the character, which again, I'm not saying anything against The Rock. I think he really loves this character and wants to do right by this character. I just hope they're not going to completely make him a good guy where Shazam doesn't fight him. Now, also, there's been a lot of talk. Is Superman going to fight him? Because that's something else that I'm afraid is going to happen. I think because we're treating Shazam in such a jokey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge way, they're not going to have Shazam fight him because tonally inconsistent that would be. And Superman, you could do it. Superman would be able to fight him, and you'd believe that it would be a stalemate, and Superman would, of course, win. Shazam, would he beat Black Adam? I don't know if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's got it in him to say, yeah, Zachary Levi can beat me in a film. That's kind of like Bruce Lee in the original Batman 66 TV show. He refused to lose to Burt Ward because he didn't want to lose to Robin. Kato would not lose to Robin. And they had to frame it as a stalemate because, of course, you can't have Robin lose in the show where he's the star, but then again, Bruce Lee isn't going to let some Peter Pan, costume wearing kid beat him on film. And it's kind of the same thing here. I can't see Shazam beating Black Adam, but then again, Shazam has to beat Black Adam because Black Adam has to be Shazam's arch enemy, his nemesis. And if you don't do that, you're doing a disservice to both of the characters. Now, before we finish up here, there is some side news involved with this story. I'm really excited to see Pierce Brosnan, Pierce Brosnan doing Dr. Fate. That is the highlight of this film for me, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be very exciting, very fun, and I think they're going to spin him off. I think, to be honest with you, the scary thing for the DCEU is they don't really have any plates in the air right now. The Flash is in turmoil because of Ezra Miller, and we really don't know going forward what's going to happen. I assume there's going to be another Harley Quinn vehicle. We don't know what's going on with Batman because, of course, that's tied up with the Flash because Michael Keaton's in that movie and Michael Keaton's going to be in the Batgirl film. And so for the DCU at large, they don't really have much to hitch their wagon on. This is the film, I think, that makes or breaks them hitching their wagon going forward. Because I think they're going to try to do something with the Justice Society of America. Because apparently, we got Wonder Woman 3 apparently in the works. Aquaman 2 is still going to come out. But of course, there's a cloud looming over that because Amber Heard may or may not be involved. And to the extent that she's involved, is it much? There's a cloud over all of the DCEU right now. This is what I think they're hoping to hitch their wagon on, which is sort of the DCEU light. We're going to do the Justice Society. We're going to do Dr. Fate. We're going to do Shazam. That may or may not be somewhat tied into the story because of Black Adam. We still got Harley Quinn / Suicide Squad on the side somewhere that is like in its own corner of the DCEU. And that, of course, Viola Davis is cast in this film as well, as I believe. So we've got some kind of tentative DCEU at work here, but it's not cohesive. They're not making this into a cohesive, which is what I was hoping was going to come from the Flash film. But again, that's all been thrown into the lurch with what's going on with Ezra Miller and how complicated and confusing that would be. Now, also, Superman. Now, there was a big rumor going around before the start of the convention that Henry Cavill was going to be there. People were swearing an oath on their mother's grave that Henry Cavill was going to be there, and he was going to announce that he had another DC project lined up, hoping against hope that would be Man of Steel 2, but he never appeared, and it didn't turn out to pan out at all. And I'm not entirely surprised. For some reason, Henry Cavill and the brass at Warner Brothers are at loggerheads, and they can't seem to work something out. I'm not sure exactly who's at fault, because if Henry Cavill didn't want to play Superman and he was playing hardball, at some point Warner Brothers would cut him loose and just say, look, we can't work with you anymore. We need to use Superman. He is the flagship character of DC and the DCEU. Arguably, Batman is as important, but they would cut ties with Henry Cavill if they truly seriously wanted to go forward without him. Henry Cavill still apparently wants to have something to do with the role of Superman. They cannot come to an agreement on what that is. He would not agree to appear in Shazam in the cameo at the end, which by all appearances, he was going to be written into that cameo. But for some reason, he keeps pulling back whenever they start suggesting that he's ready to rejoin. I don't really see where they go from here. Some people are suggesting maybe he wants more creative control. Maybe it's a money issue. They still want him, apparently. Otherwise, like I said, they would cut him out. But there's also the other side where they're saying, well, Warner Brothers doesn't really want him all that badly. And when they redo the DCEU with sort of a soft reboot after The Flash, we're going to have Supergirl, which is going to be Latina Supergirl, which is going to be what they're going to hang their hats on for the Superman family. Again, this is all rumor. I don't know how true this is. I'm not very happy with this turn of events that this is all going on, because I think we really need Superman in the DCEU. We really need Batman in the DCEU. And so far we've got the Joker 2, we've got Batman. We've got Batman essentially still on that wheel of pain that he's been on for the last 40 years. I mean, come on. Batman, he's at his best when you can do something with him with a sci-fi element, when you stick close to the comics. And they continually keep going back to the, grim and gritty, Riddler's wearing a trash bag, we're going to race change the characters. I don't want to go off on a tangent again, but they really need to overhaul Batman. They really need to bring Superman back. And even those of us who hate the Snyderverse, and I am probably the biggest proponent of cutting loose the Snyderverse, everybody says Henry Cavill is a good-looking Superman. He looks just like Superman on the page. He's a competent actor. We got to give him a shot with a script that benefits him. Now, speaking of this, Jim Lee, who's in charge over there, has also made it official that Zack Snyder is not coming back to the DCEU, that the Snyderverse is over. And with the story that Rolling Stone let out, that a lot of what made the Snyderverse trend was bots, I think the Snyder Bros really owe all of us an apology. Because you guys, we all know it wasn't on the level. We all know that there wasn't that many people that really loved the Snyderverse, that it was really a disaster, because anybody that had any feeling, any affection for Superman and Batman could see that they were not being treated well in those films. So you guys owe us all a big apology, because we all know it wasn't this landmark groundswell of support from the grassroots. It was a lot of bots. It was a lot of people just spamming with all kinds of different accounts. So again, the DCEU kind of looks like it's in a state of disrepair for the moment. And let me see if I got the copy here. I think we said all there is to say about this situation. Hopefully they come to terms with Henry Cavill before too long, because they're just gonna before too long they're just going to wash their hands of him, I think, and just carry on with another Superman. The problem is, and it always was, it all stems back to Zack Snyder. And I'm so very happy and excited that he is no longer going to be a part of this. But the damage he did to this franchise is already done. When you look at what he's done to this franchise, he gave us a terrible Superman with a terrible Superman movie. He gave us a terrible Batman with an actor that was never going to be around for the long haul, because he was already like 45 years old in the first movie, and that Batman was not going to stick around for long. He gave us an Aquaman that really didn't look anything like Aquaman, although I think Jason Momoa is interesting enough in the role, sort of the way I feel about Shazam. It's not the way I would have done it, but it was workable, and I think the same could be said for Gal Gadot. I didn't particularly think she was the greatest actress that should have been chosen for the role, but I could work with her. He gave us Ezra Miller's Flash, enough said. Gave us Amber Heard, which is causing more trouble than she's worth in the Aquaman franchise. He gave us Cyborg actor Ray Fisher, who's again become a pain in the keister. Basically, they should have just stuck with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern as the template for what they were going to do going forward. They chickened out when it underperformed, and look where we are now. We've got a disastrous, semi-connected, not really fully functional universe at play that just doesn't work. Reading the copy, Black Adam, nearly 5,000 years after he was bestowed with the almighty powers of the ancient gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. So, is this going to tie into Shazam? I hope it does. I hope the wizard Shazam still figures into this. Doesn't sound like it from what they're saying. In addition to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the title role, the supporting cast consists of Aldous Hodge as Carter Hall Hawkman, the race-changed Hawkman, I must also point out. Noah Ciento as Al Rothstein, Atom Smasher. How do you get a guy named Noah Ciento to play Al Rothstein, the Atom Smasher? Okay. Sarah Shai as Adrienne Tomaz. Marwan Kenzari as Ishmael Gregor Sabak. Quintessa Swindell as Maxine Hunkel, also known as Cyclone. Bodhi Sabugi as Ammon. Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson, also known as Dr. Fate. And Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. James Cutesy Moyer, Mo Amer, and Yuli Lakaful will also appear, but their roles remain undisclosed. Black Adam makes the scene at theaters on October 21st. So now let me know what you think about this. What do you think about the state of the DCEU at large? What do you think about Black Adam? What did you think about the trailer, although it didn't really show all that much? Let me know in the comments below. And again, this is going to be a big show, a really big show. We got a lot more to talk about, so let's see if we can get on track here, because it is nearly 8 p.m. and I need dinner. Shouldn't do these live streams on an empty stomach. That's what you learn on day one. But of course, let's talk about the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever trailer. Now, this is another trailer I don't really have a lot to talk about. Quite frankly, it was what I expected of it. It's a Black Panther-less Black Panther sequel. and uh, they don't really mortgage the farm, letting you know who's going to be the Black Panther. They show at the end of the movie the Black Panther, apparently somebody in the Black Panther costume, and this is a shame because, quite honestly, I liked Black Panther a lot. The character, I think the movie was good. It might have been overrated. A lot of people making it out to be one of the best films, best superhero films. I wouldn't go that far, but it was a good film, and I think I really loved um, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and he's going to be missed. His absence is going to be felt. You really can't replace him, and I know a lot of people want to recast him, and I wouldn't be against that, but he obviously leaves a big hole in this film. Let me read the copy first. We'll get this out of the way. Marvel Studios' Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, starring Queen Ramonda, Angela Bassett. Now, that's the first thing that I noticed about this film, is it is a very Queen Ramonda heavy trailer. It seems like she's the focus of this film, and for better or worse, I don't know what it will be. Will that be interesting? Maybe. Will it not be? I don't know. But with T'Challa dead, apparently they're going to say he died. I don't know exactly how. They kind of pay tribute to him with like a mural or something. Um, the daughter Shuri apparently would be the one you expect to pick up the mantle. It's kind of an underwhelming trailer. It still has the color and pageantry of the original Ryan Coogler. You know, you could tell it still feels like a direct sequel. Where does he go with this story? I don't know. And from the little I've seen, we've got Conquistador Namor. They've decided for some reason to make him like an Aztec Namor. He was an Aztec, I suppose, or I should say, I suppose his, what was it? His mother was an Aztec and his father was an Atlantean, or was that vice versa? I forget. It's very Aquamanish, and I think they're trying to find any way they can to sort of distance themselves from the thought that, well, he's just Marvel's version of Aquaman, because Aquaman kind of has the better rep. Namor is sort of an anti-hero. He's kind of got a stick up his butt, you know what I mean? He's not very doesn't play well with others, let's put it that way. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. Again, this trailer is very late. This film comes out in November. This is the first teaser. It's very interesting to see what they're going to do, because Phase 4 has been very bumpy. There's been some pretty big highs and there's been some pretty bad lows. And I think Multiverse of Madness, I think, is a great film. I think No Way Home was good, but it was basically because they brought back the Sony Spider-Man and the Sony Spider-Man villains. Love and Thunder isn't great. The TV shows have been hit and miss. It's kind of tough because they really don't have a breakout hit here. I think the closest one they have was probably No Way Home, but that's only on the strength of Sony's Spider-Man characters, not on their own. And again, Multiverse of Madness, I think, is, people are going to find that to be a good film. It's just being portrayed because everybody is bashing the MCU at this point, but it's going to be seen as probably the highlight of Phase 4 when all is said and done. All right, so let's continue. Queen Ramonda, Angela Bassett, Shuri, Letitia Wright, M'Baku, Winston Duke, Okoye, Denai Guerrera, and the Dora Milaje, including Florence Kusumba, fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of War Dog Nakia. Is that her superhero name, War Dog? I never heard of that. Lupita Nyong'o and Everett Ross. Oh, jeez, they're bringing him back. Martin Freeman as the token stupid white guy. That was so painful. He was so painful in that film. I kind of feel like, you know, they were trying to, you know, I guess what black people felt about Stephen Finch back in the like 30s or something is what I felt about Martin Freeman in that movie, the Black Panther film. Anyway, and forge a new path for the kingdom of Wakanda. Introducing Tana Huerta as Namor, king of a hidden undersea nation. The film also stars Dominique Thorne, Michelle Coyle, Mabel Candina, and Alex Lavignale. Again, apologies if I'm butchering these names, but I don't know. I'm just doing it phonetically. The film will hit theaters November 11th, so that's your next MCU fix. And again, nothing about this trailer gets me excited about this movie. I do intend to see this movie. I mean, I the only MCU movie I didn't see at theaters at this point was Eternals. This gives me the same feelings as Eternals. I'm not interested in this movie in the least, but I'm probably going to see it. I'm going to give it a chance. Hopefully, the next trailer actually excites me. If it doesn't, maybe I'll bow out. It is November, and it's tough to go to the movies near the holiday season for me. I don't know how other people feel about that, especially if you got Shazam waiting in the wings, and that's something I really do want to see. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited to see Namor introduced? Are you excited to see who the mantle is passed to? Apparently, with no Chadwick Boseman, it's going to go to somebody else, the Black Panther costume and mantle. I'm not sure if they chickened out over Letitia Wright being Black Panther because, of course, she's an outspoken Christian who didn't want to take the thing and so on and so forth. I believe Michael B. Jordan is back in the film, which I don't understand what they're going to do with him because apparently he died. So I don't know how they fix that. But let me know what you think in the comments below about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. All right, so the fourth and final trailer we will talk about this evening, the She-Hulk trailer. And quite honestly, again, I don't know what to make of this show. I was not a big fan, and I've said this before, of the She-Hulk comic when it was the John Byrne version where it was slapstick and dopey and breaking the fourth wall. I liked the original comic, which was in the 80s, and she was basically sort of like a temperamental heroine who still sort of possessed the mind of Jennifer Walters, but still had these emotional outbursts that sort of kept her from being the quintessential professional superhero. And they kind of backed away from that after a while, and she did become sort of just another superhero, just another punching gal that was strong and could fight. And she was on the Avengers, and she was in the Fantastic Four for a hot minute, which was kind of weird. I never liked her there, but again, John Byrne liked this character and decided that he kind of wanted to adopt her. So the trailer shows us, of course, Mark Ruffalo back as the Incredible Hulk, Professor Hulk, which I hate and detest and loathe that version of the character. They only gave us the Savage Hulk for a short time, and when they finally got him in Ragnarok to speak in that short baby sentences type Hulk speak, it lasted one movie, and then we got this Professor Hulk that I can't stand. Everybody wants Hulk Prime, which is the Savage Hulk, which is Hulk Smash. He talks like a 3-year-old. Hulk just wants to be left alone. Are you Hulk's friend? Again, the MCU has just done terrible by the Incredible Hulk, and he was a founding member of Marvel, a founding member of the MCU, one of the great characters, one of the prime flagship characters of Marvel, and they haven't gotten him right. And it's just so sad because he's my favorite hero. He's honestly my favorite hero above all others, and they can't get them right. They can't get him right. They can't get Mark Ruffalo. He did a good job in Avengers, the first movie. I don't even think he did too bad in Ragnarok. There's something missing about that character. He just seems to be playing him as a doofus. He isn't playing him as the the smartest man in the world. Now, I know that he shares that title, I guess, with Reed Richards and Hank Pym and all that, but this is not one of the greatest minds in the MCU as portrayed by Mark Ruffalo. And that's something else they need to tune up. I really wish going forward they could tune up this character, the Hulk, and make him as great as he should be. Now, he's got a limited role in this show, for what I know. He's only going to be in a couple episodes. The Abomination is back, Emil Blonsky, which we've already seen him a couple of times. He was in Shang-Chi. What else? Wasn't he in something else? I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of this trailer for this show, but Wong is going to make a cameo in this show because apparently he has something to do with Abomination as well. They still have the Incredible Hulk in canon, apparently, even though they seem adverse to ever mentioning it, but they do kind of have it in canon here. We see the Daredevil at the end of the show. At the end of the trailer is apparently going to be in the show, which is exciting. A lot of people are saying it's tough to tell with that little glimpse we saw that this is going to be the brown and yellow costumed Daredevil. And we got more Daredevil news coming up in a minute, so we'll talk about that in a second. But again, this is kind of just like a sitcom. It's a slapstick kind of jokey. How's she going to use her powers and be a lawyer at the same time? I don't know. The MCU has a tone, and I think this still fits within that tone. But again, this is going to be in the same universe as the Daredevil, and I don't know if they're soft rebooting Daredevil as he is making his way in here, because we've already seen him in No Way Home, Matt Murdock / Charlie Cox. So I really hope that they just sort of soft reboot him into this, and just that it's not going to feel tonally opposite to his portrayal, that he is going to be joining a slapsticky universe now. The CGI is not that great. In fact, it looks worse here than it did in the last trailer. Now, I am not a person who particularly cares about CGI. I've gone on record saying I am not a CGI complainer. I do not whine about CGI. I grew up watching classic Star Trek, where the Star Trek episodes had a special effects budget of $24.80 USD. I don't care. It doesn't break my suspension of disbelief to see CGI that I know looks a little uncanny valley. And it's difficult to do, I think, a beautiful woman in CGI, because you can do the Incredible Hulk and he looks a little goofy, and he's supposed to look a little goofy because he's, the 7-foot, 1,000-pound monster. But when you're trying to do like this tall, statuesque, femme fatale, it kind of gets difficult. So I don't hold that against them. I think it'll be fine, but again, it really doesn't look that great CGI wise. I'm looking forward to the show. I am definitely going to watch it. I haven't watched Ms. Marvel yet. I don't know if I will. I probably will at some point, just kind of be in the loop on these things, but I've actually liked the MCU TV shows more often than not. There wasn't one that I really hated that I've seen so far. Hawkeye was kind of underwhelming. Most of the shows were, I suppose. I thought Loki and WandaVision was probably among the better ones. But yeah, let's take a look at the copy before we finish up here. Let's see. In Marvel Studios' She-Hulk, attorney at law, Jennifer Walters, Tatiana Maslany, an attorney specializing in superhuman-oriented legal cases, must navigate the complicated life of a single 30-something who also happens to be a green 6-foot, 7-inch superpowered Hulk. The 9-episode comedy series welcomes a host of MCU vets, including Mark Ruffalo as Smart Hulk, Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, and Benedict Wong as Wong, as well as Jamil, Josh Saragetta, Ginger Gonzaga, John Bass, and Renee Elise Goldsberry. Directed by Kat Corio, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9, and Anu Valia, episodes 5, 6, and 7, with Jessica Gaio as head writer, She-Hulk Attorney at Law streams exclusively on Disney Plus beginning August 17th, 2022. So that's not really too far away. It's less than a month away. Let me know what you think about She-Hulk. Do you like the goofy slapstick She-Hulk? Are you excited to see what they're going to do with Charlie Cox's Daredevil, the Abomination, Wong, all the little cameos and doodahs that they got ready and rearing to go? Let me know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And we will move on to sort of the odds and ends now. This is the odds and ends of the con. We've got a few stories here still to tell. Let's see. Okay, we'll just put this grid up here. Now, this is what has been revealed so far this is what's been confirmed so far for our Phase 5. Phase 5 is already mapped out, and this is what it's going to entail. First up, so apparently She-Hulk will be the end of Phase 4. It's a brief and not altogether, slam bang exciting Phase 4. There was no big arc or moment, I don't think. It was the beginning of the multiverse story arc. I guess that's where its beginning is, the multiverse. And we end with Thor: Love and Thunder at the movies. Oh no, I guess we end with Wakanda Forever, right? That's going to be the last one in Phase 4. And, of course, the She-Hulk will be the last TV show, I guess, in Phase 4. Phase 5 starts in February, my birth month. This will be a great birthday present. February 17th, 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I'm excited about this one. I love Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I like those two films really very much. I think they've done a great job. They got a great cast. I'm looking forward to that one the most. Spring of 2023, you see Secret Invasion beginning to happen. We'll find out what happens with Nick Fury, as he has been up in the Skrull world, or wherever he's been, as the Skrulls take over and take his place on Earth. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, sure to be a tearjerker, because apparently this is the last Guardians film, and James Gunn has kind of promised to make them go out, not entirely intact. We're going to see apparently some deaths. Of course, Gamora still doesn't even remember her former comrades. May 5th, 2023. I'm interested in it. I'm looking forward to it. We've seen the Guardians briefly in Thor: Love and Thunder. Summer of 2023, Echo from the Hawkeye series. She's pretty much there to introduce Daredevil, or I should say reintroduce the Charlie Cox Daredevil and the Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin, with the cliffhanger that Kingpin may in fact have been killed. I don't think that's going to happen, quite honestly, but we'll see how they resolve that. Loki Season 2, Summer 2023. And I really liked the first season of Loki. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it was unconventional. It was a little bit different than what I was expecting, but it did do right by Loki. And, of course, Tom Hiddleston's always great. Always great in that role. And he manages to find a way to make Loki relevant still, even after all the ups and downs and turbulent deaths and rebirths that he's had. July 28th, 2023, The Marvels. This one doesn't register very highly on my interest scale, but again, I'm going to take a look at the Ms. Marvel eventually. And again, Captain Marvel, the movie, I don't think so much it was the worst movie of all time as much as it was a wasted opportunity. Can they do something better with the character of Carol Danvers? She deserves it. If they can actually do something, now it's going to be muddying the waters, where they're going to have the Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel. They're going to have Ms. Marvel. I don't think they really did right by Captain Marvel Carol Danvers yet. But that's July 28th, 2023. November 3rd, 2023, Blade. The Blade reboot. No Wesley Snipes. what's his name? Mashana Ali. We're going to get the copy on this in a minute, but I'm just going through these quick, giving you my thoughts. Not the biggest Blade fan. I really didn't watch those movies that much because they were horror movies, and I'm not a horror guy. That's why I didn't know if I was gonna like Morbius. But Morbius, they played it like a superhero movie, and I'm imagining that that's what they're going to do here with Blade. They're not going to be doing it for the gore and for the grizzles. They're going to do it like a superhero movie, and I'm down for that. I'll be happy to see it. Fall 2023, Ironheart takes the stage. Now they're going to introduce Ironheart, Riri Williams, in Wakanda Forever. Now, the thing about Riri Williams is she's one of the most hated characters in the comics. But I think they can do something good with her because I think that's kind of the MCU is trying, I think. And I think this is the goal. The unstated goal is they're trying to rehabilitate these characters that were created under the wokest of circumstances by the most SJW of creators, and they're trying to make them somehow fit in as sort of the next generation. You've seen this with America Chavez in the Multiverse of Madness. She was actually, a cute kid, kind of fun to watch. Nothing at all like the comic incarnation. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Riri Williams. They're going to try to make her more endearing. She's going to be lovable and not this antagonistic jerk that she was originally purported to be in the comics. I never read those comics. Winter 2023, 2024, Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Because everybody needs that Agatha Harkness TV show, right? Am I right? Everybody? No? Really? Yeah, I don't really see why we need this, but if this is going to somehow tie into, I don't think they officially announced a Wanda slash Scarlet Witch movie, but I think this is going to sort of carry on that storyline and maybe set up the Vision, maybe set up another Scarlet Witch project, a Scarlet Witch movie by all likelihood. Daredevil, Born Again. Matt Murdock finally converts to Protestantism. Now, I don't think this is going to be particularly faithful to the with the MCU. I kind of don't think they're going to be particularly faithful to the Frank Miller graphic novel, nor should they be. But yes, Daredevil is going to get his own series. We're going to get Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio back. As far as I know, also, we're going to get Karen Page and Foggy Nelson back. Those actors for a 16-part miniseries, which sounds very exciting because I love Daredevil. And I hated the Netflix Daredevil series. I'm one of the few people who will admit that I hate it. And quite honestly, they have a ways to go to rehabilitate that show. And I really hope that this is the beginning of that. I really hope what I want to see is, because they left us that at the end of season 3, they left us that out where Bullseye was going to come into it. I need to see Bullseye. I need to see Bullseye in a costume. I think that actor was very good. And I need to see Daredevil in a costume. I don't want to see him in that dirty, stinky spandex again. Rex Smith's black spandex looked even better in Trial of the Incredible Hulk than that costume. But apparently we're getting the sort of two-tone Daredevil costume. I want to see him in red. I want to see him in the original red costume. They used it in the second season of Daredevil. That was okay. I think they could put a better spin on it in the MCU to make it even more like the comic. Do it, Marvel. Do it. Spring 2024. I'm looking forward to that. Gosh, that's a long ways off, though. May 3rd, 2024. Captain America New World Order. Yeah. Not really looking forward to this one. It's the Sam Wilson Falcon Captain America. Sam Wilson is the Falcon. He should stay the Falcon. We don't need somebody else to carry off the mantle of Captain America. New World Order. Sounds like it's going to be as preachy as the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was. I don't need this in my life, really. It depends on the trailer. Again, I may or may not see it. I'm not swearing off it right now. But after watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if it's more of the same, honestly, I don't need it. I don't need it in my life. That's May 3rd, 2024. That will be out. I like Anthony Mackie, too, an awful lot. So it's very sad that they're not playing to his strengths as a sort of comedic and wisecracking actor. He's now sort of the face of SJW Marvel. Thunderbolts, July 26th, 2024. That is the project where it is basically the Suicide Squad made for the MCU. All right, so let me take a look at the copy here. Now, this is what they have to offer us according to my notes. Phase 5, the Studio Hall H presentation, the Marvel Studios Hall H presentation, has given some details about the Phase 5 titles. In Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, superhero partners Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, and Hope Van Dyne, Evangeline Lilly, return to continue their adventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, I think they had a trailer, but there was no footage allowed, so we're going to have to go by whatever they say. Together with Hope's parents, Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, and Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer, the family finds themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, and embarking on an adventure that will push them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. During the panel, it was confirmed that Bill Murray will appear in the movie, as will MODOK. That's exciting. I like Bill Murray. Of course, he's one of my favorite comedians, and I don't know what he's going to play here, but I hope it's something funny. I hope it's MODOK. He could play MODOK for all I care. That would be funny because he's a very interesting character. I always liked MODOK and as a villain for the Avengers. Now, apparently, since there's not going to be an old school Avengers team up here, this is probably the closest we're going to get to seeing MODOK fight an Avenger, which is the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Footage was shown to those in attendance that included Ant-Man introducing himself to Kang as an Avenger. The villain responded by making it clear he's a conqueror, so this variant is clearly not one to take lightly. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Kang is in it too, and of course Kang I think is going to be our big bad. He's our Thanos for Phase 5, well 4 and 5 at least. Secret Invasion is next, starring Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull Talos, characters who first met in Captain Marvel. They're joined by Kingsley Ben-Adir, Amelia Clark, Olivia Colman, and Regé-Jean Page. The crossover event series showcases a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls who have been infiltrating Earth for years. And apparently, I also heard my girl, Maria Hill, is going to be back in that one as well. So looking forward to that. Haven't seen enough of her in recent phases. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The big news there being that Gamora has joined the Ravengers and, as you might expect, has no memory of Peter Quill or her teammates. Chudwadi Uwajai will play the High Evolutionary, while Borat subsequent movie film breakout Maria Bakalova has been cast as Cosmo, the space dog. I thought that was a boy. They got a woman playing him? Her? In the threequel, our beloved band of misfits are looking a bit different these days. Peter Quill, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, must rally his team around him to defend the universe, along with protecting one of their own. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. So that's your Phase 5. That's exciting enough as it is, but we also have some updates about Phase 6. Yes, we also have Phase 6 news. These are the films that have been revealed for Phase 6. Marvel has also dated an additional 6 movies that will be part of Phase 6. Expect them to be announced at D23. I wonder when that is. But we've got Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024. Avengers, The Kang Dynasty, May 2nd, 2025. and Avengers Secret Wars, November 7th, 2025. So they're putting 2 Avengers movies out in the same year. That is insane. Of course, the exciting thing here is Avengers, they haven't said anything about the X-Men. Now, apparently, there's been this scuttlebutt that the X-Men film is going to be called The Mutants. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but apparently there's a project in the works also for Phase 6 that's going to be The Mutants. Now, again, is this SJW wokeness that's going to prevent them from saying X-Men because that doesn't represent women properly? I don't know. I have my fears. Now, apparently they're going to build up towards phase 6, where they're going to have the Fantastic Four, where they're going to have the X-Men. But so much can go wrong with Fantastic Four. That is what I'm so scared about. They didn't have any casting announcements. And again, we don't know if John Krasinski is going to be the Reed Richards in our universe. But look for that to be a problem. I don't know. They're probably going to cast something wrong here. They're going to do a race change cast at some point, one of these characters in the Fantastic Four. And I don't trust them after seeing how they handled the Hulk and Spider-Man. Two different characters they brought in from different franchises that they could have made their own by making them more accurate. And unfortunately, they made them less accurate than the original versions of them. The Incredible Hulk, the first film that they made, the MCU, was perfect. They just kept straying further and further away because they were too cheap to pay Universal to make a Hulk sequel. Spider-Man, they just refused to do anything that was already done better by the Raimi films and even the Webb films. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned for the Fantastic Four. But November 8th, 2024, Avengers the Kang Dynasty. Now, I don't know what Avengers are going to be in these Avenger films. Is this going to be the Sam Wilson Captain America? I imagine whatever characters survive to continue on, like Chris Hemsworth's Thor will still be around. Florence Pugh's Black Widow, I guess. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, are they going to bring back the original Hawkeye? Are they going to bring back Ant-Man and the Wasp? Are they going to bring back Doctor Strange? These are things that we really don't know. And so it's kind of interesting to wonder what kind of Avengers movies these are going to be. And of course, Avengers Secret Wars, I'm hoping against hope that's going to be the time when they actually do bring back Iron Man as Robert Downey Jr., Captain America as Chris Evans. That would be a nice way to just cap off seeing them all over again. Because Endgame was terrible. It quite honestly was awful. Bring back Scarlett Johansson. And to be quite honest, I'm overjoyed with hearing that the Russo brothers are not going to direct these 2 films. Because they quite honestly crapped the bed with Endgame. That was terrible. It was horrible. And they did a decent job with Infinity War, but they were terrible with Endgame. And I would never give them another Avengers film. And I'm pretty sure this would be a better way to end the tenure of all the original Avengers, is we can bring them back to life for some one earth-shaking event, the last battle. Would this have something to do with the Beyonder, perhaps? I guess, because I think they're going to deal with Kang in the Kang Dynasty, and of course that's probably going to involve the Fantastic Four and possibly the X-Men, but of course the Avengers as well. So that about wraps it up for the show this week. Thank you for joining us. And let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about the MCU going forward? Are you excited about all these new shows? Are you excited about the new films? Are you excited about what's going on and what's going down here, both in the DCEU and the MCU? Or do you think that, do you just not like fun? Do you just not want to be involved anymore? You're not interested. The MCU, the DCEU. if that's the case, I guess I probably didn't keep you to the end of the show. But let me know in the comments below. What are you excited for in Phase 5 and 6? What do you think they're going to ruin? What do you think they're going to get right? What are you looking forward to in the DCEU? Uh, you know, check out the link to the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. Please let me know what you think about the book. Let me know if you have read it. Let me know if you are looking forward to issue 10. Let me know which issues you've read in the past. I'm very interested, and I'm hoping forward to hear from some of you about the books in the future. That's the one thing that I would make me the happiest YouTube broadcaster in the world. Hopefully, we're going to do some more broadcasting. I know I've been kind of scattershot lately with Torch News Roundups. There isn't a lot to talk about in the news that's really that interesting. But I still want to talk about the book. We're going to be talking about it more and more because issue 10 is almost ready to go. And of course, we have a lot more to talk about in reviews, the upcoming stuff that's going to be coming out for the rest of the year. We've mentioned with Black Adam, with Shazam, with Wakanda Forever. So we'll probably talk about those things with She-Hulk. And we'll probably have a grand old time. Thank you, and God love you for being here. And of course, until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.